Evening, everybody. Welcome to my solo night stream, Sunday night. First, I didn't stream last Sunday because I was out of town at a alternative rock concert, and it was a lot better than I thought. I actually had a lot of fun. It was really cool. So let's see who's here. Donnie, of course. Donnie from Berlin. Hey, that's great. And old Curtis. How's it going, Curtis? So yeah, tonight this isn't going to be a long one. It's just going over some of this Grotesquerie, Ryan Murphy's Grotesquerie, and then a little bit about Seven, and then a little bit about my Between Demons and Angels. So let's see. We'll start off with. The first thing I want to say is about Grotesquerie for if anyone's in the chat now or afterwards, if you haven't seen Grotesquerie, don't know anything about it. It's the current it's a current series, like a horror crime drama series on FX. I watch it on Hulu. It's always on. And Ryan Murphy is an interesting fellow. He's a Hollywood creator, filmmaker, television, film. I am not actually a fan of Ryan Murphy, but I respect him, and I actually love his visual style. He really has a very eye-catching style, very vivid colors. Contrast. I love contrast, like these bright colors with a lot of black in it. Is that hey? What's up, Wolf? Another Berlin watcher. How's it going, man? So, anyways, Ryan Murphy's Grotesquerie. It's I think just the sixth episode is just broadcast this week, and I think there's a few more. But the thing about Ryan Murphy, which actually changed how I view film and cable shows now. Back in 2003, there was a show called Nip Tuck. That was Ryan Murphy. Nip Tuck. Okay, at the time, you have to remember. Hollywood had just in like by 2000, Hollywood had released. Think of the movies Hollywood released. You had the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you had the Star Wars trilogy, you had Pirates of the Caribbean, you had Harry Potter, you had all these mega films just within like a 5-year period. It was nuts. To me, it was like the pinnacle of Hollywood. It was insane. I was going to see movies all the time, and then it started. After that, it kind of like slacked off, and I was, I was always kind of watching cable shows, nothing major. Anyways, I came across Nip Tuck, right? I was blown the fuck away by Nip Tuck. It's like 9 o'clock on a Monday night, right? Cable TV. And there's this fucking show where they are like cutting into people with scalpels, and you're seeing the blood, and then there's these weird murders from this masked person, and there's like nudity and sex, and then there's orgies, and there's all this shit that I love, right? And I'm like, this is on TV at 9 o'clock at night on a weekday, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So I immediately fell in love with Nip Tuck, and the series went for a few years. Well, that was Ryan Murphy. That was my first introduction to Ryan Murphy, and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy? So fast forward, and Ryan Murphy, of course, it seems like he's most known for the American Horror Story, right? Most people, I guess, when they think of Ryan Murphy, they think of the American Horror Story. I didn't really watch American Horror Story. In fact, my quick history is I basically, after Nip Tuck to me was the defining moment where, for me at least, Hollywood started to go down and cable TV started to go up. Cable TV started to have all these shows that were so original and unpredictable and just they were just fucking great. And Hollywood films were just the opposite. They were just repetitive and becoming predictable, and just, it was like the same shit. And I kind of wasn't going to the theater as much. I was working at home, so I was watching cable TV. So through the 2000s, I watched all these cable shows on AMC and FX and all this stuff. And then from like the 2010 to 2020, I basically stopped seeing movies altogether in the theater. I think the last time I was in a movie theater was probably 6-7 years ago. And again, I kind of continued to watch cable shows and was inspired as a creator and a writer, and, you know, amateur storyteller, to kind of get inspiration, ideas from them, not to be predictable, not to just follow that pattern. You know what I mean? And two examples for me was Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead. I, to this day, still believe Breaking Bad is the best series in the history of television. It's insane. I know that the theme is kind of crazy, you know, meth and drugs, but as a show, it was never predictable. Every time you thought, oh, I know it's, no, the complete opposite happens. It was insane. So I really love Breaking Bad. Walking Dead was cool for a while, the first 3-4 seasons, and then it started to get a little weird. But overall, I think that cable series are better than Hollywood films. Now, Ryan Murphy, he does both. He does Hollywood films and cable. So again, I think what sets Ryan Murphy apart from some of the other directors is, again, his visuals. His images are so just beautiful. Even if it's horror, you know, if it's bloody, it's still, there's this beauty about it. It's like Ryan Murphy, this is just my opinion, because I don't really know him. In my opinion, Ryan Murphy like sets up every shot like a fucking painting, right? Every single shot. And you see that in a lot of his American Horror Story, Ratchet, which is the prequel to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That was, what was that, 2020, I think? Yeah, I think it was 2020. And man, he just nailed it. Just, Jesus Christ, the visuals, the colors, it takes place, I think, in the 50s, I think. So his attention to detail was insane. The costumes, the sets, the props, the vehicles, everything was just insanely perfect. And I'm just like watching this going, this is crazy good. This is real. So I got hooked on Ratchet. And so it was actually Donnie here in chat who suggested I watched this new Ryan Murphy series, Grotesquerie. And I have. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the same as a typical Ryan Murphy. It's not bad. I don't want to say it's bad. It's actually pretty cool, but it's not what I expected. I'm kind of disappointed in it. It is not the visuals that I was used to with these other Ryan Murphy shows. And I know it's supposed to be grim and dismal and stuff like that, but it almost feels like Ryan Murphy, either it's a new style that he hasn't quite got yet, or he's not really into it heart and soul like he was some of his other stuff, like Ratchet and stuff like that. And I kind of like, man, you should just go back to what you know and what you love, because it shows, you know what I mean? Now, again, we're only 6 episodes in, so maybe it'll completely change, I hope it does. But at this point, I'm like, right now, I'm giving it a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. And I've actually looked at reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, other stuff. And it seems like the general consensus is about, it's about a 7, 7, 5, 6, 5, so everyone kind of feels about the same way about it. Now, there's a lot of people I've seen in reviews who compare it exactly to 7. Oh, it's just like 7. Oh, it's a 7. No, it's not. To me, 7 is the best psychological crime horror drama ever created, right? Where to me, Nip Tuck was one of the craziest TV shows. I love Seven. I have researched it. I've read everything about the director's opinions and how they created it and everything. And so I love that movie. It's just a badass movie. It's really bad. That movie masters grimness, dismalness, and again, everything was planned out from the color of the paint on the walls in the background. They had to research and find the most unappealing paint to the human eye. It was just, it's insane. So I can talk about fucking Seven all night, and I will spare you, and I won't. But I will bring it up in a little bit in comparison to Grotesquerie, because Grotesquerie clearly, and I'm sure Ryan Murphy would admit it, you know, what's wrong with it? He was definitely inspired by Seven, because you're dealing with, you know, this religious aspect, this like, religious themed murders, and there's a lot of that heavy, you know, corrupt church, right? And the murders definitely, the crime scenes definitely are deep twisted religious stuff, which I think is really fucking cool, by the way, because I'm doing that in my own thing. But there hasn't been a single shot where like Ratchet or his other stuff where I was blown away, like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. Look at this setup. Look at, you know, everything. It's like, yeah, it's dismal. Okay. But it's nothing like above and beyond, out of the ordinary. Right. And what amazes me is this is 2024. Seven, for example, that came out in 95, man. So we're talking 21 years ago. So you've had all this time to up the game, so to speak, to do research, whatever, and to like even study Seven and say, okay, Finch, you know, David Fincher, look what he did in this scene. Look how he did, the mood and everything, and the pace, and okay, do it better. But it's not. And so again, so far, Grotesquerie has been like a little disappointing for me, but it's still enjoyable. And I would say definitely check it out. I mean, you know, it's pretty fucked up. It's a pretty good show. Okay, I want to. So the first thing we're gonna do now, I want to switch to something that I talked about with Donnie, where I know Donnie was kind of disappointed as well. The teaser trailer for Grotesquerie is so much different than the actual show, and I'm gonna see. Hopefully, I can play this and I won't get flagged or booted. If the show ends, my apologies, but it's probably because I'm playing a trailer for Grotesquerie. Hopefully it won't. So let me see if this works. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to do it. Donnie, what do you think? I'm going to try it. And if I get booted, I get booted. Oh, well. Right. Let me get this here. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let me make sure you can see this. Okay, let me get it full screen. All right, this is the teaser trailer. This is a teaser trailer for Grotesquerie. So let's watch this real quick, all right?
I don't know how it started. It's like a hole opened up in the world to the center of nothingness.
Killer is sermonizing, proselytizing, preaching. To understand this monster, We have to decipher these murders.
Something is happening around us. Nobody sees but me.
All right. So as you can see, I mean, right there you have the purples, the reds, the blues, the crazy colors, the contrast, and all this stuff. I mean, through the whole trailer, right? And that this is kind of what I was expecting. Maybe not as like all the time, like certain scenes, but so far there's been none of this in the series. Not a single shot. I mean, it looked like the trailer. He used his color scheme that he's used to for the entire trailer, but the actual show it's like, you know, it resembles Seven. Everything's just kind of drab, you know, grim and all this stuff. And I was like, oh man, what happened to all this crazy vivid color and all this weird, you know, symbology that it's just not there. And so again, that was one of my disappointments. Hang on, what you guys think? Yeah, Stell. Yeah, exactly, Curtis. Yeah, it definitely different stuff. And I'm sure it's a marketing thing. You know, it's a trailer. It's not the actual thing. But I got I was just led to believe this is what the show is going to kind of resemble, and it doesn't. But again, you know, it's, if you like that dark, religious, fucked up shit, man, it's cool. It's just that to me, it's no Seven. It's not comparable to a movie like Seven. And a lot of people again think, oh, it's coming straight from Seven. No, there's like 2 or 3 things that are similar to Seven, and that's about it. It's not like there's all these, you know, hints to Seven in every single episode. No, I've counted about 3 things out of 6 episodes that are like pretty much like Seven. So again, in Ryan Murphy's defense, I would say he probably has inspiration, but he didn't directly, you know, really copy stuff from Seven. And the other thing I want to mention that is very cool, and as a creator for Ryan Murphy, challenging, is the deaths themselves. And so again, let's think, how many ways are there to kill people or to make them suffer or whatever? And let's go back to film and television and all sorts of visual media, where it really started, from what I could tell, I mean, I wasn't alive in the 60s, but from what I can tell, the 60s is kind of when film and movies started to kind of ramp up, where they kind of started to, you know, they started like more nudity and more sex and more violence. And so you're talking the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you know, 2000s, 2000s, 50, 60 years, right? How many horror films and TV shows have you know, murder mysteries where people get killed and you see their bodies in the crime scene? I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is there's only so many ways to kill people in your TV show or your film, right? So you're going to run out of ideas. Now, this is where Ryan Murphy, again, shows he's a pro. He's good. Because now, you know, again, I haven't seen every horror film that was ever created and every fucked up TV show that was ever created, but I've seen a lot of them. And some of his crime scenes are original, unique. The one I think that is the most, you know, original or unique is the Last Supper crime scene. And again, I'll try to show you a picture of this. Give me a second. Hang on. God, you know, this whole, I'll be surprised if this channel doesn't get struck or flagged or something, because I'm not sure if I can actually show this kind of, you know, grotesque stuff, but oh well. So let me see here. Hang on. Let me see if I can, give me a second to get this up here. Try this. All right, I'm back to me. Let's try this again. There we go. There it is. All right. Got it. All right. You can see that. Yep, looks like you can. Okay. This is the Last Supper murder scene in Grotesquerie, as you can see. There they are. You know, these are all victims that have been placed in a church, of course. And this is one of the crime scenes that the detectives find and all this stuff. So, let's see here. Here's a close-up of the Jesus figure, the central figure, as you can see in the center. But here's the actual crime scene. So, I haven't seen this particular death set up in a film or TV series before. If someone has, let me know. But to me, this is new. This takes creativity and imagination. I know it's dark and sick and all this stuff, but to be like, okay, wow, I'm gonna kill a bunch of homeless people and prostitutes. I'm gonna prop them up in a church with all these spikes and all this. I mean, okay, that's original, man. So I give you credit. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And some of his other crime scenes are the same way. So again, I give props to Ryan Murphy for having originality and creativity in the killings. That's actually a bitch if you think about it. And I remember I talked to my brother about this when we were watching the Walking Dead TV series years ago. And in the Walking Dead, right? You know, you got the zombies, okay? And there's only so many ways you can, kill the zombies. And more importantly, there's only so many types of zombies, because they made it very clear in the beginning of The Walking Dead that animals were not affected. So unfortunately, you're not going to have zombie dogs and zombie bears and zombie moose and deer and shit like that. Only humans. Okay, right there, you're limited. How many different types of zombies as a human being can the show present? Because if you just present the same rotting zombies over and over and over, it's eventually going to get boring. Okay. So they were constantly coming up with, they had the zombies who were bloated that were in the water. And so they're bloated. They had zombies who were like radioactive. They had radioactive, they had zombies who were burnt. That was cool. They were like fucking on fire and smoking and coming after you. You know what I mean? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They had to get creative with the types of zombies in the show. That is a bitch if you think about it. From a creative point of view, that's a challenge, because you're going to run out of ideas really quick, and you've really got to think and get creative. Same thing with Ryan Murphy and these murder scenes. Almost everything's been done. So what can I show that people haven't seen yet? And this is a good example, I think. Let me see if there's something else here. What do we got? Here's one. Okay, now again, this isn't too crazy. This is okay. So some chopped up bodies he's tacked to a wall, and again, you get the idea, the grim setting. You can see very Seven-like, TVs and a shitty couch. Everything's grim. Okay. Oh yes. Okay. Now this is very Seven-like. Okay, this was the opening scene. This was the family who died at the dinner table. This is very Seven-like, and anyone who's seen Seven, you realize the first crime that the two detectives investigate is the gluttony victim, and basically it's the same thing. It's a man was tied and forced to eat until his stomach burst. Now the difference is this was a family, and they're eating basically human meat. That they're eating a human who was carved up and carefully cooked and prepared for them to eat. And they didn't die of being gorged to death, kind of thing. They supposedly died of like shock and horror or something. I forget exactly what the coroners in the show said, but it was like basically it was so horrific that they've all fucking died. Okay. And 7. In fact, I think I got some pictures of this. Hang on, let me show you some pictures. All right, so there's the family dinner table, and they show a scene. Here we go. Okay, see how they're tied, right? Their ankles are tied. Their hands and their ankles are tied on the table. Okay, now, let's go back to 7, when they discovered the gluttony victim. Here we go. Look familiar? Yeah, except barbed wire, and that was a nice touch. Tying this poor fucker together with barbed wire is bad enough, but man, barbed wire, ooh, that's good. You know what I mean? And there's another one. Yeah, here's his hands. Same thing, tied with barbed wire. So obviously you can see the similarities between the murder scenes with, okay. So again, that was the first thing I saw that reminded me of 7, and that was episode 1. And so again, this kind of happens 2 or 3 more times, and this is where I think unfairly it's getting a bad rap of, it's just like 7 is. No, it's not like 7. No, it's like it's a lot different than 7. 7 again to me is very dark, very dismal, very serious. There's very little comedy. It's almost like if there is comedy, it's accidental. You know what I mean? It's a line set a certain way. There's no comic relief. There's no goofy characters. Grotesquerie, it's like all the characters are fucking weird. You know what I mean? It's like take the nun, for example. There's this quirky, skinny, curly-haired little nun who's kind of like a little brat librarian. I think the intention for her as a character almost is comic relief. I think she's supposed to kind of add a little bit of weird humor to this, otherwise heavy, dark series. But she just kind of comes across as annoying. I mean, okay. So Grotesquerie is not, I would say it's not even half as dark and dismal and serious as 7. And I think that's what hurts it. I think if Ryan Murphy basically took a little like the same mood, the same seriousness, the same dismalness, the same this isn't going to have a happy ending thing, and he made Grotesquerie that way, I know I would enjoy it a lot more. I think it would be more. I think it'd be more popular. I think it'd be more accepted because it's like really fucked up. It's like, okay, this is some fucked up shit that's happening if you think about it, right? And it's happening over and over and over. And so there shouldn't be a lot of room for silly, goofy quirkiness. You know what I mean? But again, that's just my opinion. I favor 7 over this. So I'm going to look at everything like 7. But anyways, so I think, man, I'm trying to think if there's anything else in Grotesquerie I want to mention. But again, overall, it's pretty cool. If you are into this kind of thing, watch it if you want, if you can, cool. But again, I just think it could have been better. I think Ryan Murphy's original teaser trailer seemed cooler than what we're actually seeing in the series. I'm just closing up a whole bunch of pictures because a bunch of pictures here. Yeah, and this was Ratchet. This was a really good show. Okay, let me see what you guys are talking about. She's annoying. No, Danny, she's annoying. I hope she dies. Let's just say that. She should die. She serves no purpose to the show except a stupid comic relief. She's not really helping the investigation. She's just a weird character, and I think the whole point of her was to have a little bit of lightheartedness to it. Is this you have your serious detective and you have her quirky sidekick, and it's just like, yeah, she needs to die. And in fact, if she did die, it would kind of I'd be surprised. I'd be like, holy shit, she got killed. That's kind of cool. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's just me. What are you guys talking about? I would love. Okay, Curtis. I would love to make a horror film. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. So that's more or less it from Grotesquerie. Let me just give me a second to think if there's something else I want to talk about. I don't think there is. What else? Yeah. So, anyways, that's Grotesquerie. A lot different than Ratchet. A lot different than Ryan Murphy's usual stuff. So, I'll kind of basically go off. Now let's talk about the expert. Now let's talk about the fucking pro, the actual shit that that is Seven. If you haven't seen it, I hope everyone's seen it. Anyone watching this show, God, I hope you've seen Seven. If you haven't, you know, what's your excuse, man? It's like Seven is so good. If you're into this kind of thing, Seven is the film to watch. I mean, the characters are awesome, the murders are awesome, the pacing is awesome. The surprises. Okay, now the problem is because it's 2024. You know, and the movie's what, 30 years old, whatever. You know, if you haven't seen it, you're gonna know the whole goddamn movie because everyone is like, I mean, they make memes about the ending for Christ's sake. What's in the box? What's in the box? You know what I mean? So it's basically it's spoiled. There's no way you won't be surprised by anything in Seven if you haven't seen it by now because the internet is filled with this stuff. But if you have seen it, revisit it some night, and I would suggest that you can watch it because I was fortunate enough to see it in the movie theater like the first week or two it was around. So there wasn't any spoils of anything. No one knew what the fuck to expect with this movie. I didn't know. My girlfriend and I didn't know what to expect with this movie. And I mean, man, we were just like, well, holy shit. It was one of those movies where I don't do this, but all I do is I squint my eyes. So it's so blurry because I'm like, this is going to suck. Something's going to come out or something. You know what I mean? Like if I'm like getting scared, I just squint my eyes. And so it's kind of blurry. Some people can't see I'm like hiding like this. And I was doing that at least 2 or 3 times in Seven, man. This movie was just so tense. And the ending was just insane. Like the last 10, 20 minutes, it's just this build up to this dreadful shit. And it's like, there's not just one dreadful thing. It's like this is dreadful, and then this happens, and then you find out this happened, and it's just like Jesus Christ. It's like the characters get beat down again and again, and you are just left like in a daze, going, "What the fuck did I just watch?" But it was awesome. And so again, I have watched this so many times, and I've found anything on the internet that describes how they made it and how they were inspired and all this other stuff. So anyways, I would definitely say if you haven't seen Seven in a while, watch it again because it's a great movie. And as you can see, it's very bloody, very cool crime scenes, very screwed up shit. And again, it's about the 7 deadly sins, and the atmosphere is very grim, very dismal, harsh. I don't know. It's a really great film. So anyways, what else you guys talking about? Oh, Saw, right? It's like, is that we saying Saw? People get murdered. Yeah, Dan, that's cool that you bring that up. I've never seen any of the Saw movies, and I never will. I have a real problem with like prolonged torture and the R word, you know, any film that has that, I'm not going to watch it. I really hate that. I don't like watching people get tortured. I don't like people being stuck and suffering and all that kind of crap. So I never saw any of the Saw movies. What else? There's been a couple movies where people were surprised I haven't seen. I'm like, oh man, I ain't gonna see that shit. Fuck that. There's a awesome quote I saw because I was researching the Human Centipede years ago. I accidentally stumbled across that one night, and I'm like, "The fuck is this?" And so I started reading everything about this Human Centipede. I'm just like, "What in the fuck is this?" So of course I watched that movie, but there was one of the reviews. One of the reviews of the Human Centipede. This perfect quote, and it said, "Be careful. Once seen, it cannot be unseen." And I'm just like, "You're right." I'm just like, "Yep, you're right." So because of that, I'm careful with what I watch. So no, I don't want to watch a movie like Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, because from the little clips and bullshit I've seen, it's just these poor fuckers, these poor guys and girls stuck in getting tortured, and they have to like kill each other to get out. No, fuck that, man. It's like, I don't want to deal with this. The thing about like 7 and Grotesquerie, at least it's like a crime. It's like a mystery. You know what I mean? It's you have a couple of detectives or whatever, so at least they're the good guys or the good girls, and they investigate the poor bastards getting tortured and murdered and stuff. So there's a difference where if it's just these poor people trapped in this horrible fucking place with psychos getting tortured and killed. No, man, yeah, that's too much. I don't want to deal with that. Now the Human Centipede. Yeah, Curtis, dude, that was I basically deluded myself so much that by the time I actually watched the Human Centipede, I didn't even blink. I'm just like, I know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I basically spoiled it on purpose for myself because I was so freaked out by the reviews. I'm like, this could like fuck me up if I'm not careful. You know what I mean? So I watched every clip on YouTube, everything that was out there. I basically knew how the fucking movie was going to go from start to finish. So by the time I actually watched the movie, it was no big deal because I fucking knew everything I'd seen. You know what I mean? That's how I dealt with the first Human Centipede. Then they came out with the Human Centipede 2, and one of the reviews that stuck with me is they said the Human Centipede 2 makes Human Centipede 1 look like Bambi, and I'm like, all right, fuck this. I'm like, I'm not seeing Human Centipede 2. And I know, Danny, I think you said you've seen Human Centipede 2, right? And again, it's not on my list of movies to see. I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine if I die one day and have never seen Human Centipede 2. And then I guess there's a third one. And so again, it's just like, okay, how gross and crazy and twisted can we get? It just keeps going and going and going. But I'll stick to 7 in movies like that. I have to have there has to be a little bit of decency, I guess, in a horror film. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the majority of that film is perverted and sick and twisted and depraved and okay, that's fine. But there has to be some sort of dignity with a character or two or something. And that's where like this whole detective thing comes out. Because I really loved, Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman's characters in 7. It was enjoyable. Having them just sitting at a bar talking, I fucking love scenes like that. You know what I mean? That was really cool. And that's something where I don't get with Grotesquerie when the detective and the crazy nun are talking. I'm just like, okay. And I actually like the detective. Lois Tryon is actually really cool. She's a badass. But the other characters, they're just not doing it for me, So, anyways, so that's about all I can say about 7. And how this pertains to like Between Demons and Angels, what I'm doing is, again, it's obvious. It's a deep religious, twisted, dark kind of deep religious story. I have a lot of, there's a lot of religious symbology in Between Demons and Angels, and I know the 2 or 3 people in chat have they have their copy. So you can see what's going on. And I try not to hold back too much. I mean, there are certain lines I don't cross, but, I show some fucked up shit. Again, it's very steeped in religion. It's based on Christianity and based on Satanism. It actually is not Christianity and Satanism. It's the fantasy version of it. It's tweaked a little bit, twisted a little bit, changed just a little bit. because I am not preaching. I'm not preaching Christianity, and I sure as hell I'm not preaching Satanism. I'm just presenting the two opposing forces and saying, here you go. Wouldn't that be fucked up if these two actually were here and were fighting? You know what I mean? So anyways, I think I've said about everything I need to say, so I can wrap this up. I think I'm going to. We got here. Boom. Okay. Yeah. It's been about 45 minutes. I filled my time here, my Sunday night, because I didn't know what the hell I was going to share about tonight. So here we go. Thank you for showing for the 2, 3, 4 people who showed up in chat. Next weekend, a week from tonight, next Sunday, I'm back on track with normal independent creator comic kind of stuff. There is a lovely woman who goes by the name of Kitty Phillips. It's like a character of hers. She's going to be on the show, and she's going to be talking about she has her projects what she's talking about. So that'll be nice because I've never actually spoke to her or live streamed with her, and she has some really cool stuff. So that'll be good to talk. So that's next Sunday. So basically next Sunday I'll be back into the independent creator stuff. And then after that, I have no clue. I just kind of wing this week per week. So if anyone has any ideas, feel free to let me know. Is this for me, Donnie? The milk farm? If this is a question for me, yes. Hats off to Ryan Murphy. That was fucking original. Rubber. Oh, hey, CC, Curtis. Have you seen, and if not, you have to fucking see, I told my brother to see this. About a month ago, I started reviewing, horror films out now or coming out or whatever. There's some fucked up shit out there. And the one I've seen trailer so far, that is the top most fucked up. And I've seen reviews, and they said might be one of the goriest, most disturbing horror films created. I haven't seen it. I'm not sure, but it's called. It's called. Dude, I don't believe this. I'll have to get back to you. I completely. It's one word. It's about like suffering. What is it? Martyrs. Martyrs. That's it. Martyrs. Right. There's a horror film called Martyrs. Have any of you seen or heard of it or watched it? Check. Okay. Oh, Donnie, you would fucking love this. From what I've seen, okay, you've got to Google this. YouTube. Watch a trailer on YouTube. I don't know. It's like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, maybe a few years old, but it was within the last 10 years for sure because it's just professional. It's sharp. It's the Human Centipede was that way. To me, when I saw the Human Centipede, I was blown the fuck away by the production value. I'm like, this looks like a multi-million-dollar Hollywood film, and it wasn't. It was like made for under $1 million or something. But their production quality was so fucking good. I couldn't believe it. From the lighting to the set, everything about the Human Centipede, from a creative, artistic, visual point of view, was like fucking 10 out of 10. Okay. This Martyr movie seems to be the same way. They just fucking nail it. But it is so fucked up, man. I don't think I'll watch it. I suggest it to my brother. I'm like, here's a fucked up one for you to check out. Because my brother, all of his life has been into horror films. Like he had Fangoria magazine when he was a kid and all this shit. I was always into, sci-fi and fantasy and westerns and stuff. He loved the horror. Now that I'm older, I get into it. Yeah, horror's cool, but I'm not like, that's it. I'm just a horror person. It's just, to me, it's one more ingredient in storytelling. But Martyrs, from what I've seen and from what I've heard, is fucked up. So you've got to check out Martyrs. And what else? I was gonna say, I forget. But anyways, there's a lot of fucked up shit out there. Human Centipede, for sure. But again, probably not as much now because it's older. It's already older, so they're making crazier shit. Rubber. Oh yeah, okay. The milk farm. Yeah, okay. So back to that, Danny. Yeah, if you think about it, okay, like again, the first dinner scene. Okay, we've seen that in 7. No big deal. The two druggies in the apartment. Okay, wow, they're hanging on the wall. Okay, like that's been done a million times. But the Last Supper was very original. That was fucking impressive. And then what else was there? I'm trying to think of the. There's usually like one crime scene. Oh, the fucking the body, right? With like at a party with all the balloons and the disco ball and the spotlights out and shit. That was kind of fucked up because again, it was made from like different people's body parts that they sewed together, and it had the head of the fucking goat or whatever. So I was like, okay, this is pretty fucking twisted. That's original. Good job, Ryan Murphy. Right? Dude, don't even talk about Black Devil Doll. Don't get me started. Don't get me started on Black Devil Doll. People, if you want to offend the living shit out of everybody, watch a movie called Black Devil Doll. Black Devil Doll. I watched that movie twice in a row because it was so goddamn good. It was like the most enjoyable movie I'd seen in a long time, and it is a total parody. I just watch it. It's fucking great. If you have a dark, twisted sense of humor, you're not easily offended, you'll fucking love it. If you are one of these fucking snowflakes that don't even fucking bother, you probably sue the company. But dude, that was Danny. Danny, I never even heard of this movie before. That was you. Black Devil Doll. Black Devil Doll was totally right. I love it. What are you saying? Oh, Danny, after we watched it, yeah, you went to bed. I watched it again. I'm like, this is fucking great. It was like everything that I love was in this movie, except it was this fucking, what do you call it? I mean, I not parody. I don't know. A dark comedy for sure. Satire. I don't know, man. But it was just fucking nuts. I loved it, and it was such a. I wouldn't even say a B movie. It's like a C or a D movie. You know what I'm saying? I mean, probably cost $20,000 to make. But I fucking love that. Yeah, no, I wasn't, the doll was fucking hilarious, but I was obviously more paying attention more to the 6 naked chicks that were running around the whole time. Yeah, any film that's filled with a bunch of naked hot chicks, cool with me. So anyways, Black Devil Doll, that's a crazy one. But yeah, I would say check out Martyrs. There's some. Just do a search on YouTube for like horror films. There are so many. I couldn't believe how many horror films exist that just look amazing, and there's some that are so fucked up. Even the trailers and clips I'm watching, I'm just like, okay, I can't watch this shit. And I'm like, I can imagine being stuck in a theater where it's all dark and the whole screen is taking up your whole, your whole view, your perspective. No, I'm like, there's no fucking way. I'd be out of that theater. I'm like, nope, I don't need to fucking deal with this shit. So, but yeah, from what I've seen, Martyrs is one of the most fucked up. So definitely check out Martyrs. Another one I thought that was kind of disturbing. It's called Megan is Missing. That's messed up because it's very realistic. Megan is Missing was the first. It was made, I think, in 2010. It's the first horror film about, an internet, whatever, creepy guy who, through chatting talks to this underage girl, high school girl, lonely underage, and of course she meets him and she fucking disappears, and you can imagine how that ends. So Megan is Missing is fucked up because there's a lot of parents who could probably, that's like their worst nightmare. You know what I mean? And of course, that was back in 2010. Now, people are more protective of their kids, and kids are smarter and all this stuff. Not all of them, unfortunately. There's some. But we just learned a lot since 2010 when it comes to internet dealings. So Megan is Missing is one that I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks. And then the one I will not watch again, just my personal reasons, is Hereditary. I told my brother to watch it. This Hereditary movie, this came out, I think, like 3, 4, 5 years ago. It got some crazy fucking reviews. And I checked it out, and I'm like, yeah, this ain't my kind of movie. But I told my brother to watch it, because my brother, he'll basically watch fucking anything. I don't think he's watched it yet. And then one of the most recent horror films that was all over the fucking news is this Longlegs, right? That looks fucking cool. That looks like Longlegs to me is what I wish Grotesquerie was, right? From what I've read and heard about Longlegs, that is my kind of shit. So when Longlegs comes out on DVD or fucking whatever, I will definitely either buy it or watch it streaming or whatever. Longlegs is cool, and they said Nicolas Cage is fucked up. Nicolas Cage pulled the Joker thing, where what do they call that? The method actor, where he stayed in character even outside, and the main actress said it really started to get fucking creepy. It really started to bother her when she would talk to him, like, you know, outside of the set or whatever, and he was still in character. So I'm like, that's fucking great. I love shit like that. I love shit like that. It's like when the actor like does the method, I fucking love that shit. It shows they're fucking little nuts, but they give it up their all, and I gotta respect that. So Curtis says he got. So you have Hereditary. Curtis, have you watched Hereditary? I'll wait for you to answer. Curtis, have you watched Hereditary? If so, what did you think? If not, I would say check out Martyrs, Longlegs, Megan's Missing. Hereditary is some kind of cult kind of film. I can't remember. Oh, okay. Oh, Danny. Okay, cool. What'd you think of Hereditary, Danny? It was normal. Really? It wasn't that bad? Oh, weird. I don't know. What kind of freaking? So anyways. All right, 9 o'clock. It's been an hour. So yeah, this kind of turned into a little bit of a horror film suggestion. Before we go, we'll try a couple more minutes. Between you and Curtis here, are there any horror films you would recommend that I should watch? Midsummer. I'm not sure. Let me know, you two, before we go, if there's any horror film, old or new, that I should check out, because it's Halloween and I'm into the fucking season and all this bullshit. Let me know if there's a fucking horror movie that you would recommend me to watch this month, since we got 2-3 weeks left in October. Hereditary was too slow and demonic spiritual for my taste. Okay. Oh. Yeah, it just, from everything I've seen, it doesn't look like my kind of thing. Anything? Recommend? Going once, going twice? One from each of you. Donnie and Curtis. Recommend a horror movie, just one for me to watch. I'll wait. Well, yeah. It is very specific. I have high standards. It may not look good, but I actually have high standards. Curtis, what about you? Anything you'd recommend? Anything demonic with demons in it or something, or satanic, supernatural, otherworldly, Exorcist-like, Devil's Advocate-like? You know what I mean? I love that shit. 2008 horror slasher, The Strangers. No, I have not. So there you go. I will have to research that. The Strangers, 2008. Actually, I'll write this down. 2008, The Strangers. I will check it out. Oh, hey, real quick. Did either of you see Zodiac, I own that movie. I bought it years ago. I've only like watched it once or twice. It's fucking great. Again, it's a crime thing. The only thing is, it's not. Man, it's almost like all investigation and no action. Oh, Angel Heart. Oh, Jesus Christ. Angel Heart. What I thought, I was too young to see that. To me, Angel Heart was probably the most at that time. I think Angel Heart was the most fucked up movie with the whole devil shit going on and everything. And then I would say like Seven probably replaced it for me. But Angel Heart I thought was really fucked up. That sex scene was fucking awesome. It was like messed up. That was something else. Oh, Stigmata. Man, I think I own that. I think it's in a box. A girlfriend of mine bought that for me. I think I watched it once. But yeah, you're right. Angel Heart, very fun. Love that. Fuck that movie. Great movie. Stigmata, yeah. So anyways. All right. Well, I guess that's it. So The Strangers, I'll check it out. Yeah. So yeah, well, thanks for hanging out. I'm glad I guess I'm kind of glad I got to do this. This was different, kind of talking about horror films. I don't know. You guys, got me on Twitter. Let me know if there's any more horror films that you can think of that are suddenly cool. But I would just simply take an hour and go to YouTube and just type in, recent horror films or disturbing horror films. There are so many. It's insane how many there are, and they all look good. It's like, I think you could probably watch 2-3 horror films a night for the rest of this month, and you still probably wouldn't watch them all. So if you're into horror, just do that. I don't know where they came from. They just like fucking came out of nowhere. All these horror movies. They just suddenly, there's tons of horror movies out there. They all look great. So there's something for you to do if you get bored. So, okay. Thank you. For hanging out. And I'm going to wrap this up. And I'll end this with, I have to put my trailer, of course, the same trailer I play every time. So I will end it with this. So again, thanks. Check it out next Sunday and meet Miss Kitty, because it should be a pretty cool show. So everyone have a good night. Be safe. Be back. See you next time.
Are you an angel?
I heard your prayer, Sarah.
I think the church's prayers have gone unanswered.
God stopped listening to us a long time ago.